How's it going, people? This is Brandon, your administrator from the WWE Attitude Era page, coming to you live from Buffalo, New York, the deadest city alive. And I'm here to you today to make the first video in We Want a WWE Attitude Era history. This is exciting, people, so pay attention. Alright, I recently wrote a status, and the status was asking the people what they want. Unlike Vince McMahon, who doesn't give a damn what the people want, I'm here to serve the fans of our page. Because, unlike Vince, I know that the fans are what makes the page, and the fans are what makes WWE. He doesn't know that, and that's why he's gone. Alright, so I wrote down the strengths of the Attitude Era and the PG Era. And the PG Era is the one I'll start with because it's the shortest list. PG Era, well, the first strength is it targets a bigger audience because there's kids. That's it. Kids, I mean, us adults, let's admit it, most of us, at least, if not all of us, are still watching, even though we say, oh, it's crap. We're still watching, giving them good ratings. And the kids, of course, are watching because the scene is on it. PG allows for it to be on a better time if they wanted to. They haven't even moved it. It's from 9 to 11. Raw is. I mean, what kid's up at 10 or 11 p.m.? I don't know. SmackDown's on an hour earlier. Maybe they watch that. Who knows? Storylines don't need to be as good. Therefore, the writers don't have to work as hard. So this is a strength for the writers. This is something they get to enjoy. Why do they need a storyline? It can suck. It could be Cena versus Orton every day. As long as Cena wins, the kids are happy. If Orton wins, then the girls are happy. Um, you know, they don't need to write a good storyline at all. It's ruined it completely because all the kids care about is if Cena wins. They don't care what storyline's behind it. More money is being brought in on those stupid red shirts, those stupid purple shirts, orange shirts, green shirts, black shirts, blue shirts, every color of the rainbow almost. I sincerely hope he starts wearing purple so he looks like a fag. Preparing for the future. This one's kind of smart. I do agree with it a little. There are other ways I think he could have done it, though, than making it PG. However, with more kids watching, they're going to eventually grow into the show and keep watching. Uh, you know, the problem with the Attitude Era was the adults and the teenagers watched, but then they stopped. They stopped watching. They almost felt like some of them felt like they grew out of it. The viewership went a little bit. It didn't go. I mean, obviously it stayed alive, but it went down. So Vince, out of desperation, I think, switched to PG to attract the kids that will grow into it again. And that's it. PG sucks. Alright, death to PG. Attitude Era, the main strength, in my opinion, was all the charismatic wrestlers, not the rating. The charismatic wrestlers. Because they come back today still, like The Rock and Austin, and despite the rating, they still make us stand up and mark out. I don't think the PG rating is extremely important or extremely detrimental, but I will get to it later because it is causing some of the problems. So, charismatic wrestlers, the top three of the Attitude Era, in my opinion, is The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle. And they were so lucky that they had those three. Those were like the golden boys because they could do anything and get the crowd reacting. Kurt Angle would get "you suck" chants or boos everywhere. You know, The Rock, depending on what he played, Rocky sucks, or Rocky, and then Stone Cold, same thing, Sell Out 316, or people would be chanting Stone Cold, hell yeah, oh hell yeah, you know. Nobody got reactions out of the crowd like those three guys did. Next would be the rating. Here's where I said I would talk about it. TV-14 is the way to go for wrestling. Some might not agree. I go on websites and have this debate all the time. So I don't know why you'd want PG, but here's the reason you want TV-14. Because it still is targeting a teenage and adult audience. Kids, I watched. When the Attitude Era happened, I was a kid and I still watched. So the excuse that PG brings in more kids, bull. Um, so the TV-14 rating allows the wrestlers to be more free in what they do, what they say, and how they act. And this allows them to be actors, which is a big part of wrestling. That's squash today. Most of the promos and the mics today are at least halfly influenced by the WWE. Back then, people like The Rock and Austin, do you think that was a scripted promo? No. they came out there and spoke off the top of their head because they were talented enough to do that. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talent in WWE today that I think could speak off the top of their head right now. But half of it's scripted because the WWE tries to take control like that because it's PG. Stupid. They weren't too busy advertising for pay-per-views back in the Attitude Era. That's another strength. Why do they have to advertise for them now? I'll get to that in a second. And this is the seconds up. The storylines were good, and there was a storyline for almost every match. That's why they didn't have to advertise for pay-per-views. The storylines were so good that you wanted to watch the match, and it almost forced you to take a side, you know? Nowadays, there's hardly any storylines for the matches, so who cares who wins? I mean, the kids are like, oh, the good guy better win, Cena better win, or, you know, but I don't care. If a heel wins, whoop-de-doo. If a face wins, whoop-de-doo. You know, I don't care. The storylines are what makes people care and what brings in more of an audience, in my opinion. They're looking for a bigger audience, get better storylines. WWE can be like a soap opera. It's addicting, and if it has good storylines, it'll work. Blood. Need I say more? Weapons and match types were diversified. This is a big one. Who wants to watch the same old singles match every day? Not me. Singles matches are horrible. Okay, keep some of them. They're necessary. We can't have a different match type every day, you know. But like the Rey Mysterio versus Miz, that was a singles match for a WWE title. Unexcusable. So boring. I can watch a singles match any day. If it's a special event like a WWE title being put up on a regular show, it better damn well be a good match type. Make it a tables match. Make it a steel cage match. Something exciting. Wrestling is choreographed. We all know it. You can't just put on singles matches all the time and expect us to be happy. You need to make it more exciting by adding weapons and match types. The boss was hated. This is very important too. Why? Because you can't have a boss that's liked in wrestling. You know, people hate their bosses in real life and they want to watch a show where they can relate. That's why in the Attitude Era, people hated Vince and liked Stone Cold. Because Stone Cold was the ultimate employee in their opinion. Why? Because he hated his boss and he'd hit his boss. How many people want to hit their boss? A ton. Give them something they can relate to. Heels were hated. Why are they loved now and why are faces hated now? Because faces are shoved down our throat nowadays. Cena and Orton, the lights went out. Cena and Orton, we didn't ask for them to be faces. They were shoved down our throats. Why do people love Punk? Because we chose to love him. That's why. Weight class divisions makes it seem like a real sport. It's sports entertainment, people, not just entertainment. So both words are important there. Keep it like a sport. Keep that mentality and you'll do better. Tag teams. Where are they now? They're down the toilet. They suck. Okay, here's a question. Who's the tag team champs right now? If you can answer without Googling it or researching it at all, you just know off the top of your head, comment below on Facebook or on this channel. If you do, I'll give you a shout out in the next video because I don't know who they are. That's how bad it is. They had more belts like the European Division belt, the WWF Canadian belt, the Cruiserweight belt, the Light Heavyweight belt, stuff like that. You know, that's needed, especially the Cruiserweight division. I'm going to make a whole nother video about that because the Cruiserweight division is very important and it would help a ton in bringing up the underrated superstars. Sin Cara would have been a great Cruiserweight champ. Rey Mysterio, another one. Evan Bourne. Who knows where he is? He'd be a great Cruiserweight champ, and that would be a way of giving him some fame. And multiple shows. Remember Heat and Velocity? That's another good way to put over the new talent. So, that's, you know, it's not just SmackDown and Raw. We need more shows. Tough Enough seasonal. NXT sucks. Heat and Velocity were great for putting over those guys that were mid-carders. Mid-carders on the Heat and Velocity were main eventers there. So, and that's a good way to give them more experience. Really helps develop them. So that's another big one. And YouTube is gay. It only lets you have 10-minute videos. I'm at 9.5 right now. So, I have to end the video. But I hope you are pleased. Please comment, rate, subscribe. And I'll make another video on do I think there's a new Attitude Era coming about? And if so, what stars will shine? I think this will be a good one. If you do too, then let me know on Facebook or on this channel. If not, suggest something else. Brandon Mullen, your administrator, out.